example that at the time that some people are thinking that investors are leaving this country, investors are actually coming to Nigeria.
Information Minister visits world-class city, Niger State, expresses confidence in foreign investors. Nigeria and China meet on green industrialization plan. Senate to investigate fraudulent investment schemes. Hello and welcome to the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24, reaching you live from Abuja. I am Stella Inameti. Nigeria's status as a giant on the African continent is on display as investors are taking advantage of the nation's policies on ease of doing business. One of such investors is in Magama local government area of Niger State, building a hydropolis-free zone, a world-class modern city to accelerate industrial development in Niger State and Nigeria at large. The federal government delegation, including the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, visited the site. Salihu Abdullahi Guanara was on the entourage.
Niger State in north-central Nigeria accounts for the country's largest landmass, with abundant resources in food and power, potentials that are attracting investors and innovation from across the world. In the bank of Kanji Dam in Magama local government, this 3,000 hectares of land is playing host to the ongoing multi-trillion naira hydropolis free zone project, with about 30 billion naira infrastructural project completed.
If 10 billion is not going to be available for you, I wonder who else it will be available for.
This is an example that at the time that some people are thinking that investors are leaving this country, investors are actually coming to Nigeria.
As a flagship project of mainstream energy, the project is deeply rooted and driven on public-private initiatives to promote various activities like manufacturing, real estate, tourism, and agriculture. Aquaculture Resources Limited is already leading the way with the full operations of this mega fish farm using a section of the Kanji Lake that is already providing thousands of tons of fresh fish to Nigerian markets. This is an indication that on the land and in the water, Nigeria's agricultural revolution is on course.
The only way we can achieve, Mr. President's, objective and goal in terms of industrialization, in terms of accelerating it, is with the efforts, of the private investors and the private people. And what I've seen here is highly commendable, both in terms of the free trade zone and in terms of the aquaculture resources. We require, government intervention by way of its agencies like the BOI.
Since the coming of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, first he established the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, which has an 800-kilometer coastline and then inbound waterways that also support this kind of venture. If you match that with also the novel Ministry of Livestock Development, and you now know that the president feels that there is the need for Nigerians to actually have sufficiency in food production. That's the only way that our sovereignty can be guaranteed.
The investors are encouraged with the commitment of the federal government representatives.
Honestly, it's well reassured, not only for us stakeholders, but for investors that are willing really to join us and to join this team for a very wonderful future, at least in terms of what we have on the ground.
Seeing is believing. So we brought them here all the way from Abuja. No matter how you try and show and sell this product, unless you bring people here to come and see for themselves, there's no way you can convince anybody to come and put money here.
Conceived in 2015, the project is a demonstration that with the right policies and synergy among the subnational governments and private investors, development potentials are limitless on Nigerian soil that is full of abundant natural and human resources. From Magama local government in Niger State, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
Nigerian and Chinese Environment Ministry delegations have met in Abuja to finalize plans for Nigeria's green industrialization plan, with the Lekki low-carbon demonstration zone in Lagos set as a pilot. Charles Alpha reports that the meeting stems from a COP29 MOU between the two countries to establish the zone in Nigeria.
On November 15, 2024, in Baku, Azerbaijan, Nigeria and China put pen to paper in an attempt to address shared global crisis of climate change while driving economic development. And this culminated into the agreement to develop a low-carbon demonstration zone in Nigeria, which will be to drive just energy transition to support green industrialization. In realization of this, Nigeria and China set up technical teams to come up with a design that works for Nigeria. And so they are here to brief the Minister of Environment on progress and inspect the designated pilot site in Lagos to share ideas and exchange data. The team briefed NTA after a closed-door meeting in Abuja.
Mr. President has eloquently articulated his program for green industrialization, and this is part of what the ministry is doing to support Mr. President's agenda for Nigeria. Both countries have set up a technical team that are currently working together jointly to develop what looks like the design for what the project is going to look like. And so the study, which is part of why they're here, is really to scope on ground what is available, what are our policy initiatives, and what really is driving our ambitions as a country.
This initiative, the team believes, offers a unique opportunity to create a template and drive investment into infrastructure and capacity that addresses the dual challenges of climate change and economic growth through innovative, sustainable development plans.
So it's a combination of a number of things, right? So it's all about green industrialization, right? Low carbon power, renewables, and a mixture of gas. Right? You also talk about green transportation, electric vehicles introduction. We also talk about waste recycling in the industrial sector as well, circular economy. So that project is also going to include how to incorporate the mangrove and mangrove restoration as part of that entire sustainability design.
The Lekki Low Carbon Demonstration Zone is expected to be replicated in other processing zones in Nigeria. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Similarly, Nigeria has made a strong appeal for global cooperation in addressing challenges of climate change and health inequity as the world heads toward COP30. Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tuggar made the appeal in a message from President Bola Tinubu at the 17th meeting of the Global South and Emerging Economies Bloc, BRICS, in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The foreign minister urged the bloc to lead for a transformative agenda that will give more attention to environmental degradation, climate change, and healthcare inequalities threatening the Global South. Tuggar highlighted Nigeria's climate reality, deadly floods in Wokwa, spreading desertification in the north, and rising sea levels in the Niger Delta, saying the continent contributes the least to global emissions. He urged BRICS to move beyond what he described as sterile and toothless diplomacy and seize this historic opportunity to drive global action that truly delivers for vulnerable nations. To unlock Africa's potential, US-LAC Africa, in collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has launched an initiative to empower 50 million youths through technology and entrepreneurship. The program aims to harness the talents of Africa's young population for sustainable development. Suleiman Abdul Wahab reports.
$100 million investment spread over 10 years, the program will offer training, mentorship, and startup support to help young people gain digital and business skills. It aims to shift them from being consumers to becoming creators and job providers.
I'm going to be giving them scholarship, for a better training, and I call it overseas internship.
By the time we are sending out youths 10 per local government for the first phase to go outside and have skills to come back, it should be easy for them to get their visas.
The initiative also targets 10 youth-focused local governments across the country, sponsoring talented ones who show promise in innovation. Once identified, they will be selected for advanced support, turning their ideas into impactful solutions.
All hands must be on deck. I also use the point to remind our youths that life is not about jumping. You must crawl before you jump. And the fact that Nigeria is blessed.
Second takeaway I took from the program is that you have to develop yourselves in terms of skills and acquisition of knowledge.
I came here because I heard that they are doing this program, so I came here to come and show the world that me also am already good in tech. I can build a car. Also, I can build a drone controlling from the floor and go higher with camera, and also I can build a tester.
This initiative is a step towards building a self-reliant, innovative generation ready to drive African growth through production, creativity and leadership. In Abuja, Suleiman Tobu Abdul Wahab, NT News.
There is a call for Nigeria's trade policy to be structured in a way that supports industrialization with a strong focus on cassava production. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria who made this call are of the opinion that the president's commitment to food sovereignty can be achieved by ensuring food is available, accessible, and affordable in line with the economic potential of cassava, which they described as a wonder crop. Thomas Ogbetere has details.
Guest on Good Morning Nigeria stated that cassava can significantly boost GDP, create jobs, and drive exports. They noted that only 33% of Nigerian 93 million hectares of arable land is used, and cassava, which grows easily across the country, has many byproducts and industrial uses, including ethanol production.
But because of the diversity of our country and the other challenges, because we are not operating in a vacuum, and so we have to recognize that no matter what you have as a good technology, it can be applicable somewhere, but it cannot be applicable everywhere at the same time. So all the diversity issues have to be brought on board.
Cassava and bioethanol, like the Honorable Minister had mentioned, has a lot of synergy. But there's one missing link to cassava that people rarely discuss, and that is livestock management.
The guest urged the government to strengthen the market ecosystem surrounding cassava to maximize its economic value. They believe that with sustained policy support and government attention, cassava production can become a game changer for Nigeria's economy.
I think government is also started doing some interventions, which is very good through the Nigeria Agricultural Development Fund and also through the Nigeria Cassava Investment Accelerator.
Can actually export $700 to $800 million worth of cassava. What of the bioplastic? The global bioplastic market is projected to be $385 billion. If we can, and it's growing.
They concluded that beyond promoting self-sufficiency in food, cassava hold a promise of industrial growth and export potential. Prioritizing cassava, they say, is not just a strategy for food security, but a long-awaited solution to job creation and national economic growth. In Abuja, Thomas Ogbetere, NTA News.
This is the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. More reports will follow after this break. Stay with us.
The Baffy Furniture Shopping Festival is here from June 15th to August 15th. Enjoy 20%, 30%, up to 50% off on most products. Explore 2025 exclusive collections at discounted prices, plus wedding packages with a free TV stand gift. Plus, free delivery and installation in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, and Enugu. Customize your favorite sets in your preferred color and fabric, from kid user-friendly options to our luxurious smart beds. Don't miss out. Shop now at Baffy Furniture.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. The Senate has resolved to carry out a comprehensive investigation into the activities of fraudulent investment schemes, commonly known as Ponzi schemes in Nigeria, to protect citizens. In a motion jointly sponsored by Senator Abiru Adekotokumbo and Senator Osita Izunaso, lawmakers expressed concern over increasing sophistication of operators of such fraudulent schemes and the devastating consequence of their actions on unsuspecting members of the public. Reference was made to the recent crypto bullion exchange CBEX, MMM Nigeria in 2016, MBA Forex in 2020, among many others, who lured Nigerians with promise of outrageous returns but suddenly collapsed, resulting in investors losing trillions of naira. Lawmakers said now is the time for administrative reforms with regards to regulations and monitoring to protect Nigerians.
In this time now, we are still seeing students carrying their pocket monies, collecting monies from their parents for medicals, and going to dump in all sorts of Ponzi schemes. And then you see at a go, a group will make away with 1.8 trillion from the country, and no action seems to be taken. We would like to see them brought to book.
The quest to find a lasting solution to malnutrition and food insecurity in Nigeria continued at the National Summit on Nutrition and Food Security, convened by the House of Representatives Committee on Nutrition and Food Security. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that the conference is to build stronger synergy among stakeholders so as to tackle the issue frontally.
Security is that every citizen should have access to nutritious, safe, and sufficient food always. This is the major focus of the National Summit on Nutrition and Food Security at the National Assembly. The heart of the summit lies in the stories of stunted children, people displaced by flood and left with nothing to eat, of farmers losing yields due to climate change, as observed by Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, Chike Okafo.
Let experts tell us what we should do, both at the national and subnationals, to address this challenge of malnutrition and lack of food.
Participants at this summit, drawn from federal, state, and development partners, were clear. Every Nigerian child deserves more than a hungry stomach. Enhanced governance priority on nutrition and increased awareness at the local level.
Transforming our food systems to make them more sustainable. The Nutrition 774 was bettered, showing that Nigeria has decided as a unit to tackle malnutrition.
It is hoped that these conversations won't end in the corridors of the National Assembly, but in fuller plates, healthier meals, and a nation that nourishes its own. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The Fiscal Responsibility Commission has again re-echoed the need to enhance financial transparency and accountability at the subnational level in Nigeria. This initiative aims to address issues such as illicit financial flows and misuse of public funds through stakeholder engagements. The executive chairman of the Fiscal Responsibility Commission, Victor Morocco, made this appeal at the 2025 National Conference on Public Accounts and Fiscal Governance held in Abuja. The event, organized by the House of Representatives Public Accounts Committee, brought together key financial stakeholders to discuss strategies for promoting transparency and sustainable development in Nigeria's public financial management. He said the FRC will work closely with key players and authorities to tackle financial crimes and promote responsible fiscal practices in the coming days. The role of effective leadership, resilience and artificial intelligence in a changing global order is the focus of the training for military personnel in Abuja. The program, organized by the Nigerian Army Resource Center in collaboration with King's College London, is aimed at enhancing the capacity of senior military officers in combating emerging threats.
I want to challenge the senior army officers to start thinking outside the box. There are challenges out there. You see, when we talk about collaboration, you must bring something to the table. You must bring knowledge, you must bring the experience. So we want to sharpen the knowledge, we want to improve their experiences before they go out there and collaborate with others.
Well, AI belongs to what is referred to as emerging and disruptive technologies. Gradually it's becoming integrated into every process that we do, from our behaviors to our daily living. And as practitioners in the field, it's very important that senior military officers get acquainted with the rudiments of AI so that they can also enhance their processes in the field.
We have a new way of looking at things in terms of policy, in terms of concept, operations, and ultimately in terms of how we work together in the future.
The training is geared towards using artificial intelligence in upscaling the fight against terrorism and other crimes in the country. While giving insight into Nigeria's evolving energy policy landscape, the guest on Good Morning Nigeria, Dr. Muda Yusuf, commended Dangote Refinery's groundbreaking 720 billion naira investment in a CNG-powered truck to facilitate petroleum products distribution nationwide. Dr. Yusuf described the move as a potential structural shift in Nigeria's fuel logistics ecosystem, one that could significantly reduce subsidy pressures, ease inflammatory trends, and boost fiscal sustainability. He emphasized the initiative's far-reaching implications for economic development and job creation.
The Dangote Refinery has been exporting petroleum products, particularly Jet A1, diesel, and the rest of to Europe, to United States, to Saudi Arabia. That is good for our country. That is the kind of capacity that we should support, both for Dangote and for any other industry.
Marketing experts emphasized that Dangote's move to bypass the traditional fuel distribution chain and offer credit to retailers could disrupt existing supply chains but would improve efficiency. He called for supportive government policies to help MSMEs and rural businesses benefit from such initiatives.
Efficient. Whether it is in pharmaceutical, whether it is in agriculture, whether it is in petroleum products, whatever sector it is.
He also noted that the project aligns with Nigeria's gas monetization goals and urged the government to focus on infrastructure, regulatory reforms, and incentives to attract more private investment in the energy sector. This is the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. Here is a recap of our top stories.
It's an example that at the time that some people are thinking that investors are leaving this country, investors are actually coming to Nigeria.
Information Minister visits world-class city, Niger State, expresses confidence in foreign investors. Nigeria and China meet on green industrialization plan. Senate to investigate fraudulent investment schemes. Thanks for staying. The All Progressives Congress, APC, in Nasarawa State is engaging elected representatives on its platform to appraise performances in line with the party's ideology and manifesto. Aliu Tijani reports that the initiative is to deepen good governance.
All Progressives Congress, APC in Nasarawa State, is embarking on midterm review, keeping track on performance of its members who have the 4 years mandate of electorates with a view to appraise the journey so far. First to be engaged are chairmen of the 13 local government areas in the state as they present their scorecards. The novel initiative, the party says, is to ensure elected representatives connect with the electorate and also ensure campaign promises are for